The largest middle school sports league in New Orleans is disintegrating.
Yeah, eyewitness investigator David Hammer dug into documents and allegations of money being misused. The total figure, more than $20,000.
Now city middle schools are making an interesting change. Here's David with that story.
The 30 public schools that participated in the private New Orleans Charter School Athletic Association last year are now dropping out.
This is a lot of schools and a lot of kids being affected by one person's mistake. That should not be possible.
Our exclusive eyewitness investigation last week showed how one league employee depleted the league's whole bank account. First Line Schools used to operate that league, but now its CEO says it can't trust a private entity with public money. Parent Armtreese Coward thinks the schools are overreacting and hurting kids in the process.
One person made a mistake. Our children, are being shortchanged.
But children will get to play sports after all. NOLA Public Schools says it's partnering with NORD, the city's recreation department. Ulysses Collins of NOLA Public Schools says middle schoolers will now compete against other schools and the NORD park teams.
They can choose whether they play with their park or they play with their school.
The new so-called Unified League will offer the same sports as the old Charter League did, but it doesn't have flag football in the fall. So First Line Schools will step in to operate a fall-only flag football league.
We were geared up to do flag football in the spring, but the school leaders came collaboratively and said, no, we want to run flag football in the fall. Makes sense.
The only catch is kids won't be able to play for both a school team and a park team. They'll have to choose one or the other.
They're connected to their parks and they're connected to their school, as they should be, because those are community things. And what is constantly happening is the kids are being uprooted and disrupted.
Documents obtained by Channel 4 show each public charter school paid $3,500 to the nonprofit Noxa League to pay for refs, site managers, scoreboard operators, and more. But our investigation showed almost $23,000 disappeared when League Commissioner Katrina Edwards got access to a league debit card.
And I can't speak to what happened with the funds and the nonprofit, but what I can say is this league, NARDC, and NOLA Public Schools would not be collecting money from schools at all.
On July 30th, we went to the home of the league's treasurer, Dean Gankars Davies, to ask about $22,740 in withdrawals from Noxa's account last October. He declined to speak with us, but then went to the police to file a criminal complaint, theft by fraud. The police report even states that Gankars Davies decided to go to the police after he was contacted by a news agency, Channel 4. Edwards eventually paid back $12,000 of the $22,740. We tried to interview her on July 30th. I told her this was her opportunity to explain what happened from her perspective. She said, I know what my truth is, but I'm not going to do it this way, and declined to do an interview. Now we'll just have to wait for the criminal investigation to run its course.
I reached back out to Katrina Edwards and to Dean Gankars Davies, but they again declined to be interviewed. When I first talked to Gankars Davies last week, he was the athletic director at First Line, but when I asked the First Line CEO about him, she said that he had worked at the school, emphasis on the past tense. Karen and Sharice?
David, thanks so much.